Hi, Jake Bush, professional strength and conditioning coach, founder of Capable Human Project. Been a coach for about 11 years, currently working with the 82nd Airborne as a contractor out here in beautiful North Carolina. I'm on day one of a new train up starting in October. The event is a 6-hour ruck in the end of February. The premise of this event is a 3-mile loop in which I will weight up my backpack, complete the 3-mile loop, weigh the backpack, add or subtract weight, rinse and repeat for the entirety of the 6 hours, and get a final score based on how many laps and how much total weight I've carried throughout. This gives me about 4.5 months, whereas my previous event, the 5-hour that I did back in the spring, video on that coming in the future, still working on editing, but that I did about 3 months. This I've got about 4.5, so really excited to get into it. Today I'm just doing a 4.5 miles with only 20 pounds in the pack, just to kind of see how I'm moving and feeling, and based a lot of my training moving forward over the next few weeks at least, off of how this goes today, and then I'm going to build out the rest of the months accordingly from there. I think one of the big changes that I'm going to incorporate in this training, as opposed to the 5-hour train up that I did last time, is within that I did a lot of video of repetitive training throughout the entirety of that program. I wanted to really capture the totality of that, show the consistency and the dedication within that. But I think this time there's no need to continuously keep showing the same things over and over. This time I want to get a little bit more dialed in with the actual specifics of the programming, the metrics that I'm using, and hopefully create more of a documentation that will be like a physical or a download that I'll be able to incorporate and give to people, so that they can potentially base some of their own training off of it, or at least see what I did, so that as future programs come out, they'll have an understanding of why I created things the way that I did. So I'm going to get back to the trail. Clock is ticking, and I'll see you guys as we move forward. Hey, we're out here, Sunday, October 19th, first day of week 2 training. I'm keeping it a little bit, keeping the route shorter, but I'm going to repeat it, getting about 4 miles total. One, start acclimating to that mental aspect of seeing the same things over and over again, considering that the event I'm doing is just a 3-mile repeat loop for those 6 hours. I'm also still getting over strained calf, so just in case it starts acting up, I don't have as far to go to get back and just call it a day. Either way, we're getting going. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm only about halfway through the first lap, so haven't even broken a sweat yet. Anyways, we're getting into week 2. Hope you get something out of it. I will. About 10 minutes into the second lap. I didn't time the first one. I was just moving, see how I felt. I mean, I was moving relatively quick, but kept it at a pace that I could still just breathe through my nose the whole time. Sorry, quick water break. As you can see, broke a sweat. I am timing the second loop. Legs feeling pretty good, starting to get a little tight. Feeling some hot spots on the bottom of my feet as well. These aren't the shoes that I'm gonna wear for the event. These are just the first ones I saw. So it is what it is. But still feeling pretty good. I'm gonna keep going because the timer is going. I just wanted to check in. It was definitely the shoes. I did 4.5 miles last week with the same weight, same backpack, 20 pounds right now, and my feet were fine, and that was a tougher trail. Not a hard trail, but a tougher one than today. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I'm not gonna gross you out by putting it on the camera, but definitely blisters. Not horrible, but so I'm big minimal. Been wearing them for years, so my feet are adapted. These Zero shoes, these are my everyday ones. These are the ones I wore last week. Again, no problem, 4.5 miles, weighted. These are also Zero shoes, but you can see they're flexible, but thicker. These aren't my everyday shoes. I usually wear them a little bit more in the winter, just at work. So now I know not to wear them again. But, you know, trying to find a positive or bright side of this, hopefully build some calluses on my feet, make them a little bit tougher, because regardless of what shoes I do wear going into the competition, they will be minimal and my feet will be working. Also, just because we talked about timing that second lap, 31 minutes, not bad. And that was with, 2-3 minute water break stop with a little filming. I'm happy with that. 15-minute mile isn't stellar. It's not anything super impressive, but if we're talking about 6 hours, if I can maintain 15-minute mile pace and consistently increase the loads that I'm under and maintain that pace, I think I'll be pretty happy with that. If I can shave some time off, that would be good. Again, the trail is 3 miles, so obviously, 45 minutes around. I don't know how long it'll take to stop, weigh the pack, get back on the trail, either add, subtract weight. I imagine it'll be relatively quick, but let's just say, if I can get 6 to 7 laps comfortably within those 6 hours, and 18 to 21 miles times whatever weight I bring. I emailed the people running the event, and the guy got back to me today and gave me an idea of what some of the previous year's scores were, just to, so I can kind of do the math on that and increase my strategy a little bit. So I think if I can get 6 to 7 laps, acclimate to 50, 60 pounds comfortably, should be doing pretty good. Competition day, obviously, try to push it a little bit more, but by that time, if I go about this the right way, I'll have a good idea of when to add, when to subtract, when to go fast. And we'll see what happens. I mean, you never know how other people are training, but I think it's a pretty good strategy as of right now. Yeah, it's still early. It's only week 2, start of week 2. So, long ways to go, but I'm excited for it. And so, now, next thing, done with the hike, recover, I'll rub my feet for a minute, go take an ice bath, hot shower, eat a lot of beef, and enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Hey, starting week 3 at Umstead Park. Been here before. It's a really good place. Blisters from last week still really affecting my right foot. They kind of started going away and came back during the week. Not sure why. Got them moleskined up. But my girls wanted to come for a hike with me. Once I get the other video that I keep referencing done, one of the things that I took out of that is I wanted to get my kids a little bit more involved, which works with my foot not feeling 100%. Because this will probably end up being a shorter hike. But to compensate for that, added more weight this week. And with Umstead, one of the nice things about it is once you go down towards the river, it's pretty steep, a little bit rougher terrain. So trading duration for different levels of difficulty. One of the funny things about hiking with kids, if you don't have kids, is it's not so much how far do you think they can go, it's how far are you willing to carry them back, which I don't mind, but they are starting to get a little bit bigger. So, you know, hey, your gum fell? Okay, sweetie, that's all right. That's why we brought 2 pieces for you. I think trash can's over there. I'll help you in a second. Okay, we're gonna get hiking. Monday, 27th of October. Out here at Sugg Farm in Holly Springs. Wide open, beautiful field. Just doing a little barefoot walking in the grass. Just kind of taking it easy today. It's overcast, probably high 40s, low 50s, but moist and windy. I'm gonna get into general prep here in a few minutes. I'll make the video in the car just in case the wind picks up. I don't want it to be too choppy. Jacket and sweatshirt, keep a little bit warm, but shorts, barefoot. General prep isn't just the training in the weight room or on the trails. Competition is end of February, so there is an acclimation to the cold weather as well that I need to start taking into consideration, see how I'm feeling. This isn't freezing, a little bit chilly. Nice thing about starting my training this far in advance is that I've literally got all the way through fall and winter to really push getting used to being outside in whatever conditions there may be for that long. That'll give me a chance to really figure out what kind of gear would be appropriate to both keep me warm, dry, while also allowing me to breathe, not overheat, because even though it's February and it may be cold, if I'm carrying weight and moving for 6 hours under tough conditions, you will sweat, and then when I stop, I will be cold. So it's all part of the process, but I wanted to take it a little bit easier today. I'm going to get into some of that in the next video. This one, we're going to sign off with just discussing general prep a little bit more. So general prep is exactly how it sounds, but we need some more context as to how we're choosing the starting point in which we're going to build the preparation off of. For myself, I'm not coming into this completely untrained. As I've said, completed an endurance event back in June. That was about 4.5, maybe close to 5 months ago at this point. Didn't become completely untrained during the summer. I had fun, enjoyed the summer, spent a lot of time kind of experimenting around with different things. I had no idea that I was going to find another event that I would want to train for. So I was just playing around with different things, but still working out 4 or 5 days a week, trying to maintain just a base level of strength, conditioning. As I said, playing around with different things, seeing what I liked, just as far as like general purpose training for maintaining my own health and enjoyment of continuing to train with as old as I am. Now, it's easy in this situation to know exactly what my starting point is because I know how I feel, I know what I've been doing. Were I working with the client, we'd have a consultation, establish that baseline, build up from there based on what their goals are, their timeline, etc., things like that. Now, my typical approach when building things for myself is I've built it out for about 6 weeks, but as I mentioned, we're coming into week 3, and this is about when I start looking at, okay, what have I done? How do I feel? Start making some minor tweaks and adjustments. I'm really looking at the training that I've done. Do I feel like it is getting me going in the right direction? How am I eating? How am I recovering? Things like that. There's always going to be adjustments on the fly. So we want to come up with as much of a dialed in plan as we can while still allowing for flexibility. If the program's too rigid, we're potentially setting ourselves up for injury or failure. Have to maintain a level of flexibility. Now, for myself coming into this, not completely untrained, but I haven't been training for anything specific to this point. I have been maintaining a little bit of hiking just casually. Past couple weeks, as mentioned, been doing about 4.5 miles with 20 pounds. Feeling pretty good with that. The blisters, they kind of came out of nowhere. I guess that one day I just wore the wrong shoes. They're not brand new shoes. I've worn them plenty of times, even out hiking. So I don't know why all of a sudden the blisters just came out of nowhere. They're super uncomfortable. Anyways, it is what it is, but that's one of the things you have to adapt to. Just like yesterday, I adapted to the fact that my feet weren't feeling great. My kids wanted to come hiking with me, and I'm not going to tell them no. So knowing that we weren't going to go as far, I found a trail that was a little bit more difficult, which kudos to them because they hung in. They got through the whole thing. They toughed it out. And I added extra weight. Now, leading into this, my body was feeling pretty good. I have a torn meniscus. It's been torn for probably about 1.5 years, but not so much that I need surgery. As long as I don't do anything excessive to aggravate it or make sure that I progress correctly on it, I should be okay with that. I'm used to minimal footwear. That's what I'm planning on going into with the hike that I'm going to be doing. I don't know exactly what pair of shoes. I may invest in some new ones. I'll have to make that decision soon enough to break those in. But today, I am feeling my back and hips are a little bit more broken down than I expected from adding the weight yesterday. I went from 20 to 30 pounds, which I didn't think would be a huge jump, but I don't think it's so much the weight as much as the pack that I used. That pack's not meant for heavy weight. It's just my go-to, and I didn't have time to reorganize things. The hike that we went on was a little bit, I don't want to say on the fly, but it was just a fun hike with the kids. And so I'm definitely at the point where I need to readjust and move up to a different pack. I have one that I'm going to be using. Not sure if that's going to be the one for the competition, but it's definitely more sturdy, and I'll be able to load up comfortably more weight in it to start building up over the next few weeks. Strength conditioning wise training, I feel like I'm doing pretty good with that. I make minor adjustments and tweaks kind of on the fly, and you've seen as I'm posting the Excel file on there, building it out. That's just a general template that I use for myself. If I were working with clients, I'd have something a little bit more, dialed in for tracking, things like that. That one I just created kind of more the way my brain works and how I look at things. I track my stuff more by hand on notes, but instead of making videos of my handwriting that you have to decipher, I thought I'd put it up in Excel, so you're welcome. Anyways, today, I just kind of wanted to talk about the context of general prep, what my approach is with it. I'm keeping it very simple. For the strength side of things, basic strength, accessories that are a little bit more for lower body, posterior chain focused, back, spine, getting that more acclimated to having load coming down on top of it, and being able to move under that load. Nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary. Energy system development, I'm taking the approach of the extreme sides of the spectrum of energy. I'm working more on the alactic side, or if you're familiar with Strong First and the Quick and the Dead, more anti-glycolytic training twice a week, and then everything else just extended out aerobic capacity. As of right now, I don't see a need to really work that super high intensity in between with the anti-glycolytic training. That's going to be building up, so we will start hopefully pushing that curve to the right a little bit, but that's not my main focus. This is an extended duration. I just want to make sure I have the ability to where if I have to step on the gas and really push and move, I have that ability. Muscular endurance, like I said, it's general. It's general prep. I'm keeping it simple. As of right now, 3 weeks in, don't see a big need to change anything drastically. I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling. I think the biggest changes that I do need are I'm going to start getting a little bit more dialed in on nutrition, just kind of get out of that mindset of like, hey, I'm not training, and really push more towards that. We'll do more specific video. That'll be in a later part where really kind of get in on that and any supplements that I'm taking. I want to be very open and honest about those things. I've got nothing to hide. I'm just going to kind of close out this video, this part, by saying thank you if you've watched this whole thing. Obviously, you know, kind of new to YouTube, a little late to the game. I'm not doing this to try to be an influencer, but the next video, I'm going to be getting more into my why. Why am I doing this? Why am I videoing it? Why am I trying to create this whole Capable Human project to begin with? What does it mean? But, you know, we're going to save that for the next one. I'm going to sign off on this one, and feel free to, you know, any questions, comments, leave them, email. I'm open to discussion. And I guess since this is YouTube, you know, if you want to like and subscribe, that would definitely help, because there's a lot more what I think is really good info coming. Appreciate your time. I will see you in the next video.